November 10th, 1938. Vienna, Austria. Morning after Kristallnacht. The smell of smoke still hangs in the air. Broken glass covers the sidewalk like snow. Sharp, glittering, deadly. Our synagogue is burning. I can see the flames from my window. The fire brigade stands watching. Not helping. Just watching it burn. I am Ruth Adler. 23 years old. Viennese. Jewish. And as of last night, I am no longer welcome in the city where I was born. November 10th, 1938. Papa's store is destroyed. Everything we owned gone. Mama won't stop crying. My brother Jacob is missing. The SA took him. We must leave Vienna. We must leave Austria. We must leave now. This is a refugee story, one of millions who lost everything. Subscribe to hear the voices history almost erased. Like if you believe every story deserves to be told. Comment. What would you carry if you had to leave everything behind? Let's remember together. It started in March. The Anschluss. Germany annexed Austria, and overnight, everything changed. I remember the day. March 12th, 1938. I was walking to my job at the music conservatory where I taught piano. The streets were filled with people cheering, waving Nazi flags, shouting Sieg Heil as German troops marched into Vienna. My students' parents started canceling lessons immediately. We can't have our children taught by a Jewess, one mother told me over the telephone. She sounded apologetic, almost embarrassed, but not enough to keep me employed. Within a week, I lost my job. Within a month, new laws stripped us of citizenship. The Nuremberg laws, now applied to Austria. Jews could not own businesses, could not practice professions, could not marry non-Jews, could not attend universities, could not exist in public life. My father owned a bookshop on Tuchlauben, near St. Stephen's Cathedral. 3 generations of Adlers had run that shop. Beautiful volumes. First editions. Rare manuscripts. Papa loved books the way other men love children. In April, the SA, the Nazi stormtroopers, painted Jude across the window. Jew. In dripping red letters. They stood outside, preventing customers from entering. Anyone who tried was photographed, threatened, sometimes beaten. By May, Papa was forced to sell. Aryanization, they called it. Transfer of Jewish property to Aryan ownership. Papa got a fraction of the shop's value. The new owner, Herr Brenner, our former landlord, a man Papa had known for 20 years, smiled as he signed the papers. Nothing personal, Adler, Brenner said. Just following the law. Just following the law. That phrase. We heard it constantly. Mama tried to maintain normalcy. She kept our apartment immaculate, cooked Friday Shabbat dinners, lit the candles, but her hands shook when she struck the match. Fear has a smell. It permeated our home like gas. Jakob, my younger brother, 19 years old and newly radicalized, wanted to fight. We should resist, he'd argue at dinner. We can't just accept this. Resist how? Papa asked quietly. They have the army, the police, the people. What do we have? We have the truth, Jakob insisted. Truth doesn't stop bullets, Papa replied. By September, we were trying to leave. Everyone was trying to leave. The immigration office on Prince Eugenstrasse had lines that stretched for blocks. Thousands of desperate Jews, clutching papers, begging for visas. America, Britain, Palestine, Argentina, anywhere. We'd go anywhere, but no one wanted us. America had quotas, strict quotas. The Austrian quota was 1,413 people per year. Thousands applied. We filled out the paperwork in June. We're told it might take years. Britain accepted some refugees, but required sponsors. We had no one in Britain. No connections. No money to bribe officials. Palestine was controlled by Britain, which limited Jewish immigration to appease Arab populations. Shanghai, China, was the only place that required no visa, but that meant traveling halfway around the world with no resources. We were trapped. Then came Kristallnacht, November 9th, 1938, the night of broken glass. I remember the sound first. Shattering. Everywhere, shattering. Windows breaking. Glass raining onto streets, then shouting. Laughter. The SA and ordinary Viennese citizens, rioting together, destroying Jewish businesses, homes, synagogues. Our apartment was on the 3rd floor. We heard them downstairs, smashing Frau Goldstein's door. She was 82, a widow, harmless. They dragged her into the street in her nightgown. I watched from the window, watched as they beat her, watched as neighbors who'd known her for decades stood by and watched, or cheered. Papa pulled me away from the window. "Don't look, Ruth, don't look." But how could I not look? This was Vienna, my Vienna, the city of Mozart and Freud, of coffee houses and culture, of civilization, and it was tearing us apart with glee. They came for Jakob around midnight, pounded on our door. Papa tried to stop them. They hit him, split his lip. Blood ran down his chin as they dragged my brother away. "Where are you taking him?" Mama screamed. "Dachau," one SA man said, grinning. "He'll learn some manners there." Dachau, the concentration camp in Germany. We'd heard rumors, terrible rumors, about beatings, starvation, arbitrary killings. Jakob was gone. The next morning, November 10th, I walked through Vienna. Through my city, every Jewish shop was destroyed. Shattered glass covered entire blocks. The synagogue on Seitenstedtengasse was burning. The oldest synagogue in Vienna, built in 1826, burning while firefighters watched. People stepped around the glass, went about their business. Some smiled. A few looked uncomfortable. But no one protested. No one helped. We were alone. That afternoon, Papa made the decision. "We leave. Now. Today. Whatever it takes." "But Jakob," Mama began. "If we stay, we all die," Papa said. His voice was flat, empty. "We get out. We survive. When Jakob is released, he'll know to find us." If he's released, I thought, but didn't say. We had one option. One contact. My mother's cousin, Leon, who'd emigrated to Paris in 1936. He'd written offering help if we needed it. We needed it. Papa used our last savings to buy 3 train tickets, Vienna to Paris. It cost everything we had left. We could take 2 suitcases each. 2 suitcases to contain an entire life. I chose carefully. Clothes, some photographs, my mother's Shabbat candlesticks, my father's tefillin, my music scores, everything else. Furniture, books, heirlooms, memories. We left behind. Mama wanted to wait for Jakob. Papa was firm. "We leave him a note. Tell him where we're going. If he comes home, he'll follow. But we must go now." We left the note on the kitchen table, held down by the good silver candlestick we couldn't take. It felt like abandoning him. It was abandoning him. But staying meant death. November 12th, 1938. We walked to Westbahnhof station, past destroyed shops, past the synagogue, still smoldering, past neighbors who'd known us our entire lives and now looked through us as if we were invisible. The train platform was packed. Hundreds of Jewish families, all fleeing, all carrying what they could, children crying, old people being supported by relatives, everyone's face showing the same expression. Terror mixed with desperate hope. The Nazis checked papers at the border, thoroughly, looking for any excuse to deny exit. "You're leaving Austria?" the border guard asked me, examining my passport. "Yes." "Good. We don't want your kind here anyway." He stamped the passport, handed it back. "Your kind." As if being Jewish was a disease. The train crossed into France on November 13th. The moment we passed the border, Mama broke down, sobbing, not from relief, from grief. We'd escaped, but we'd left Jakob behind, left our home, left our entire world. I held her hand and said nothing. What was there to say? Paris, France, November 1938, May 1940. Leon met us at Gare de l'Est. He looked shocked. We looked like refugees, haggard, thin, desperate. Which is exactly what we were. Ruth, Tante Miriam, Uncle Samuel. He embraced us. "You're safe now. You're in France. You're safe, safe." The word felt like a lie even then. Leon had a small apartment in the Marais, the Jewish quarter. He gave us his bedroom, slept on the floor, shared his food. He was kind, more than kind. But 3 people added to a 1-bedroom apartment created impossible strain. "I'll find work," Papa said. "I'll contribute." But work permits were nearly impossible for refugees. France was flooded with refugees. From Germany, Austria, Czechoslovakia. Every country Hitler touched produced a wave of desperate people with nowhere to go. I found work cleaning houses, under the table, paid almost nothing. But it was something. Papa tried to sell books on the street. Illegal but necessary. Mama aged 10 years in 10 weeks. We wrote to Jacob, sent letters to our old address, hoping somehow they'd reach him. No response. We contacted the Red Cross, Jewish aid organizations, anyone who might have information about Dachau prisoners. Nothing. He'd vanished. By early 1939, Paris was overflowing with refugees. The French government, overwhelmed and increasingly hostile, started opening internment camps. Not concentration camps. They insisted on the distinction, but camps to contain refugees. For processing, they said. In April 1939, we were ordered to report to the camp at Gurs, in southwestern France near the Spanish border. Temporary, the notice said, until your immigration status is resolved. The train to Gurs reminded me of the train to Paris, packed with refugees, children crying, old people exhausted. But this time we weren't fleeing. We were being contained. Gurs was hell. Wooden barracks. Mud everywhere. No proper sanitation. Overcrowded. Disease spreading constantly. We slept on straw mattresses on the floor. 30 women to a barrack meant for 15. But we were alive. We told ourselves that constantly. We were alive. This was temporary. We'd get our American visas. We'd emigrate. This was temporary. It had to be temporary. I met Clara at Gurs, a Polish Jew, 26 years old, who'd fled Warsaw in 1938. She spoke Yiddish, German, Polish, French, and broken English. She became my closest friend. "You still believe we'll get out?" she asked one night, lying on our straw mattresses. "We have to," I said. "My family applied for American visas in 1936, Clara said quietly. "We're still waiting. 4 years. Still waiting." The American quota system was killing us. Not with bullets, with bureaucracy, with forms and stamps and waiting lists while Hitler advanced. In September 1939, Germany invaded Poland. World War II began. France declared war on Germany. And suddenly, we refugees were enemy aliens, German and Austrian nationals, technically citizens of nations now at war with France. The irony was crushing. We fled Germany. We were Jewish refugees persecuted by Germany. But our passport said German Reich, or Austria, incorporated into German Reich. So we were enemy aliens. The conditions at Gurs worsened. Food rations decreased. Medical care became almost non-existent. People died. Elderly people mostly. Weak people. People who'd survived Hitler only to die in a French refugee camp. Papa aged terribly. The strong man who'd owned a bookshop, who'd supported our family, who'd made the hard choice to flee. He became a shadow, sitting in the mud, staring at nothing. "Samuel, we'll survive this," Mama would say, holding his hand. He'd nod, but his eyes were empty. Then, May 1940, Germany invaded France. The news reached us in fragments. German forces broke through the Ardennes. The French army was collapsing. Paris would fall. France would fall. We were trapped. Behind us, Spain, which wouldn't let refugees in. Ahead, German armies advancing. Around us, barbed wire and French soldiers who didn't know what to do with us. Clara and I made a plan. "We run," she said. "When the Germans get close, when everything is chaos, we run. We hide. We survive. And go where? Anywhere. Woods, mountains, farms. We find people who'll hide us. There have to be good people left. There have to be." On June 14th, 1940, Paris fell. The news devastated us. Beautiful Paris. Occupied. Hitler's armies marching down the Champs-Élysées. On June 22nd, France surrendered. The armistice divided France into occupied zone, north, and Vichy free zone, south. Gurs was in the Vichy zone, technically unoccupied, technically independent. But Vichy collaborated with the Nazis. Almost immediately, they began implementing anti-Jewish laws, deporting refugees, sending us back to Germany, to death. "We run now," Clara said. Tonight. Or we die here. The guards were chaotic, confused by the armistice. Some abandoned their posts. We saw our chance. Clara, myself, and 6 other women escaped on June 25th, 1940. We walked out during a shift change. Simply walked out. No dramatic escape. Just 7 desperate women walking away while the world collapsed. We walked south. Away from the camp. Into the countryside. We had no money. No papers. No plan beyond survival. France was chaos. Roads filled with refugees. Soldiers retreating or surrendering. Government collapsed. No one knew who was in charge. No one knew what was happening. We walked for 3 days, sleeping in barns, drinking from streams, eating what we could beg or steal. On the 3rd day, we reached a small village near Toulouse. A farmer found us in his barn. Middle-aged man, weathered face, suspicious eyes. "Who are you?" Clara spoke. Her French was best. "Refugees, from Gurs. We're Jewish. We need help." The farmer stared at us. For a long moment I thought he'd turn us in. Call the police. The Vichy government was offering rewards for turning in Jews. Then he sighed. "My wife will feed you, but you can't stay. Too dangerous. I have children. I can't risk it." He fed us. Gave us bread, cheese, water. Let us sleep in the barn one night. Told us about a village further south, near the Spanish border, where the priest was hiding refugees. "Father Bernard," the farmer said. "In Montpellier. He's a good man. A brave man. Go there." We split up. Safer to travel in smaller groups. Clara and I went together. The others went separately. We walked to Montpellier. It took 2 weeks. 2 weeks of hiding, begging, stealing, surviving. We looked like beggars. Filthy, thin, desperate. Father Bernard's church was small. Stone walls, modest. We knocked on the rectory door at dawn. An old priest answered. White hair, kind eyes. "Yes?" "Father Bernard, we're Jewish refugees. We need help. A farmer near Toulouse sent us." The priest looked at us, then nodded. "Come in, quickly." He hid us in the church cellar, brought us food, clean clothes, let us wash. "You can stay a few days," he said. "But Montpellier isn't safe. The Vichy police are active here. I need to find you a more permanent hiding place." "Where?" Clara asked. "There are people, resistance people. They move refugees, hide them, get them to Spain or Switzerland if possible. I'll make contact." For 3 days we hid in that cellar. Father Bernard brought meals, told us news. Paris was occupied. The Vichy government was collaborating fully. Jews were being rounded up. Camps were being established. "It's starting again," he said quietly. "What happened in Germany? It's happening here now." On the 4th day, a woman came. Middle-aged, severe-looking, French. "I'm Madame Fournier," she said. "I help refugees. Can you work? On a farm?" "Yes," I said immediately. "Good. I know a farmer who needs workers. He'll hide you. But you work. You earn your safety. Understood?" "Understood." Madame Fournier took us to a farm outside a village called Valence. Remote, isolated. The farmer, Monsieur Tessier, was gruff. "You work. You stay hidden. No one knows you're here. If anyone asks, you're distant cousins from Paris. Jews, but baptized. Understand?" We understood. We were alive because of lies. Clara and I worked that farm for 3 years. 3 years of hiding, of fear, of pretending to be something we weren't, of hearing news of roundups, deportations, murders, and wondering if we'd be next. We worked the fields, milked cows, cleaned, cooked. We were unpaid slaves, essentially, but we were alive. Monsieur Tessier wasn't kind, but he kept us safe. He risked his life. If authorities discovered he was hiding Jews, he'd be arrested, probably killed. "Why are you helping us?" I asked once. He looked at me. "Because it's right. Because I'm French, and France doesn't abandon people. Or it shouldn't." He paused. "And because I lost my son at Verdun in the last war. He died for France. The least I can do is save 2 lives." At night, Clara and I would lie in the tiny attic room Tessier had given us and talk about the future, about America, about Palestine, about anywhere but here. Do you think your parents are alive? Clara asked once. I didn't know. I'd had no word from them since Gurs. No way to contact them. They could be dead. Could be in Auschwitz. We were hearing rumors about that camp. Could be in hiding like me. I have to believe they're alive, I said. If I don't believe that, what's the point? The point is surviving, Clara said. We survive. We testify. We tell the world what happened. That's the point. News came in fragments, filtered through Monsieur Tessier, who had a radio he listened to secretly. BBC broadcasts, Free French broadcasts, news about the war. 1942, mass deportations of French Jews to Auschwitz. Thousands, including children. 1943, the Allies invading North Africa, Italy, slowly pushing back. 1944, D-Day, liberation of France beginning. Each piece of news was hope. Fragile, distant hope, but hope. Then, August 1944. American and Free French forces liberated southern France. We heard the tanks before we saw them. American tanks, rolling through the countryside. Monsieur Tessier ran into the fields where we were working. They're here, he said, crying. Actually crying. The Americans. We're liberated. Clara and I stood frozen, afraid to believe it. Afraid it was another false hope, but it was real. American soldiers in jeeps and trucks, rolling through the village, distributing food, cigarettes, chocolate, and they were kind. That's what broke me. Their kindness. We walked into the village. We'd been hidden for 3 years, hadn't walked openly as ourselves in 3 years. Clara and I, 2 Jewish women, walking down a street in daylight. An American soldier saw us, young, maybe 20. Ma'am, you okay? You look like you need food. Clara tried to explain. Her English was broken. We are Jewish. We hide. 3 years. In farm. The soldier's face changed. Understanding. Sadness. Jesus. You're refugees. You've been hiding this whole time. We nodded. He turned to his unit, called over other soldiers. These women are Jewish refugees. They've been in hiding. Someone get them food, water, medical attention. Within minutes, we were surrounded by American soldiers, giving us K-rations, chocolate bars, water, cigarettes, treating us like we mattered, like we were human. One soldier, an officer, approached. Ma'am, do you have family? Anyone we can help you contact? My parents, I said. They were at Gurs camp. I don't know if they're alive. We're liberating camps, he said. We're documenting survivors. We'll help you find them. We'll help you. Those words. After years of go away. We can't take you. You're not welcome. Suddenly, we'll help you. I started crying. Couldn't help it. Couldn't stop. The officer looked concerned. Ma'am, are you hurt? No, I managed. You're being kind. You're treating us like people. His face was infinitely sad. Ma'am, you are people. What they did to you, what everyone did to you, it was wrong. You deserved better. You always deserved better. And that's when it truly hit me. We'd survived. The nightmare was ending. We'd survived. September 1944. Valence, France. American Liberated Zone. The Red Cross set up an office in the village hall. A simple wooden building that had been Vichy administration just weeks ago. Now it's filled with desperate people searching for lost family members. I stand in line for 3 hours. Clara stands with me. We're both wearing donated clothes. American military surplus. Too big, but clean. Real clothes. After 3 years in the same 2 dresses, rotating them, washing them in streams, wearing them until they were rags. The Red Cross worker is a French woman, maybe 40, with kind but exhausted eyes. She's seen too much, heard too many stories like mine. Name? She asks. Ruth Adler, from Vienna. My parents are Samuel and Miriam Adler. We were separated at Gurs camp in June 1940. She writes this down. Do you know where they went? No, that's what I'm trying to find out. She pulls out a massive ledger. Thousands of names, survivors, displaced persons, refugees, the remnants of European Jewry, catalogued in handwritten lists. She runs her finger down the pages. Adler, Adler. So many Adlers. Austria and Germany were full of Adlers. Adler, Miriam, and Samuel. From Vienna. She stops. Looks up at me. Her expression tells me everything before she speaks. I'm sorry. They were deported from Gurs to Drancy in August 1942. From Drancy to Auschwitz. Transport 23, September 4th, 1942. Auschwitz. The word is death. We know about Auschwitz now. The Americans are finding the camps. Documenting. Photographing. The truth is worse than any rumor. Are they... I can't finish the question. I'm very sorry. Transport 23 was sent directly to the gas chambers upon arrival. The elderly were not selected for work. They were killed immediately. My parents. Dead. 2 years dead. While I was hiding on a farm, milking cows, they were being murdered. I don't cry. I can't. The grief is too large. It fills my entire body, leaving no room for tears. Clara puts her arm around me. Ruth. I'm so sorry. The Red Cross worker continues gently. Is there anyone else? Siblings? Extended family? My brother, Jakob. He was arrested in Vienna during Kristallnacht. Sent to Dachau. She checks another list. Jakob Adler, born 1919. Vienna, Dachau. She traces the entry. Released March 1939. No further records. Released. Alive, at least in 1939. But then what? Where did he go? If he survived, he may be in displaced persons camps, the worker says. We're still cataloging survivors. It will take months. Years, maybe. Come back weekly. We update the lists constantly. I nod. Thank her. Walk outside. Clara follows me. We sit on the steps of the village hall. Around us, liberated France is trying to rebuild. People are celebrating, dancing, kissing. The war isn't over yet. Germany still fights. But France is free. And I just learned my parents are dead. What will you do? Clara asks quietly. I don't know. Wait for Jacob, I suppose. Hope he's alive, and then... I stop. Then what? Vienna is gone. Austria is gone. Everything I knew is ashes. America, Clara says firmly. We go to America. We have nothing left here. We go to America and we start over. How? We have no money, no sponsors, no... The Americans are helping refugees, Clara interrupts. They're setting up programs. Displaced persons visas. Refugee resettlement. I heard soldiers talking about it. We apply. We wait. We go to America. America. The country that wouldn't take us in 1938. That had quotas. That turned away boatloads of refugees. Now they're helping? Why would they help us now? I ask bitterly. They didn't help us before the war. Because now they've seen what happened when they didn't help, Clara says. The camps, the bodies, the gas chambers. They know what their quotas did. Maybe they'll do better now. Maybe. It's a thin hope. But it's all I have. October 1944. The American military government establishes a displaced persons camp in a former German army barracks outside Lyon. They're consolidating refugees, survivors, homeless people, processing them, documenting them, helping them find family or emigrate. Clara and I move there. We're assigned to a barrack. Clean, with real beds, blankets, heat. Luxury compared to Gurs. Compared to the farm attic. There are hundreds of us. Maybe thousands. Jews, mostly. From Poland, Hungary, Austria, Germany, France. All survivors. All with stories of loss. I meet a woman from Warsaw who watched her entire family shot in the ghetto. A man from Budapest whose wife and children were gassed at Auschwitz. A teenage girl from Paris whose parents were deported and who survived by hiding in a convent. Everyone has lost someone. Most have lost everyone. The Americans run the camp efficiently. Food is adequate. Not abundant, but adequate. Medical care is available. They're vaccinating us against typhus, tuberculosis, diseases that spread in camps. They're documenting our stories. A young American lieutenant, Robert Morrison, is assigned to our section. He's from Ohio, 26 years old, gentle-spoken. He treats us with extraordinary courtesy. Ma'am, he says to me one day, we're compiling records for refugee immigration. Would you be willing to tell your story? For the documentation? I tell him. Vienna. Kristallnacht. Gers. Hiding. My parents' deaths. He writes it all down. His hands shake slightly as he writes. I'm sorry, he says when I finish. I'm so sorry for what happened to you, what our country failed to do before the war. You weren't responsible, I say. Maybe not personally. But America was. We knew. We could have taken more refugees. We could have saved. He stops. I'm sorry. That doesn't help you now. You're here now, I tell him. You're helping now. That matters. He nods. But his face shows the weight. These young American soldiers, they came to fight a war. They didn't expect to find the camps, to see what we'd endured, to carry the knowledge of what humanity is capable of. In November, Lieutenant Morrison tells me there's a possibility of emigration. The president is pushing for a displaced persons bill, allowing more refugees into America. It's not approved yet, but it's coming. You should apply now. Get in the queue. I apply. Fill out mountains of paperwork. My life reduced to forms and stamps and questions. Employment history? Piano teacher, unemployed since 1938. Current occupation? Farm worker, illegal, undocumented. Family in America? None. Sponsor? None. Why do you want to emigrate to America? Because I have nowhere else to go. I don't write that last part. I write something proper, about freedom and opportunity and starting over, the things they want to hear. But the truth is simpler. I want to emigrate to America because every other place has rejected me. Because I'm tired of being unwanted. Because maybe, just maybe, America will let me be human. December 1944. Clara gets tuberculosis. Camp disease. Too many people in close quarters. Weakened immune systems from years of malnutrition. They take her to the hospital. American military hospital. Real doctors. Real medicine. She's lucky. If you can call anything about this situation lucky. I visit her every day. She's thin, pale, coughing blood into handkerchiefs. But the doctors are optimistic. The antibiotics are working, the doctor tells me. He's American, Jewish himself, from New York. She should recover. It'll take months, but she should recover. Thank you, I say. Thank you for saving her. That's my job, he says simply. But I see it in his face. This isn't just a job. This is personal. He's saving people his government failed to save before. In her hospital bed, Clara grabs my hand. Don't wait for me, she whispers. If you get a chance to go to America, go. Don't wait. I won't leave you, I say. You will if you have to, she insists. We're survivors, Ruth. We do what we must to survive. If that means leaving, you leave. I can't promise that. Can't imagine leaving her. She's the only family I have left, but I understand what she's saying. Survival sometimes means hard choices. We've made so many already. January 1945. I hear about Jakob. A Red Cross worker finds me. Ruth Adler? We have information about your brother. My heart stops. Is he alive? We believe so. A Jakob Adler from Vienna was documented at a displaced persons camp in Bavaria. Recently liberated from Buchenwald. Buchenwald? Another concentration camp. But alive. Jakob is alive. How do I contact him? We're arranging communications. It may take weeks. The systems are overwhelmed. But we'll get a message to him. Tell him you're alive and looking for him. Weeks feel like years. But he's alive. After 6 years, Jakob is alive. I write a letter immediately. Care of the Red Cross, to be forwarded. Dear Jakob, I'm alive. I'm in a displaced persons camp in Lyon, France. Mama and Papa are dead. Murdered at Auschwitz in 1942. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm trying to emigrate to America. If you can, come to France. We'll go together. If you can't, tell me where you are. We'll find each other. We're the only family left. I love you. I never stopped looking for you. Your sister, Ruth. I give the letter to the Red Cross. Wait. Hope. March 1945. Germany is collapsing. The Americans and British are advancing from the west, the Soviets from the east. Berlin will fall. The war will end. Soon. And the camps are being liberated. Auschwitz in January. Buchenwald in April. Bergen-Belsen, Dachau. The Americans are finding them, documenting them, photographing them. The photographs reach us. Piles of bodies, living skeletons, gas chambers, crematoriums. We knew. We'd heard rumors. But seeing it, seeing photographic proof, is different. The world is seeing what happened. What they let happen. What they ignored while it happened. I look at the photographs and think, Mama and Papa, this is where they died. This is what happened to them. The grief is bottomless. April 1945. Germany surrenders on May 8, 1945. VE Day. Victory in Europe. The camp erupts in celebration. People are crying, laughing, hugging strangers. The nightmare is over. The Nazis are defeated. We survived. But the celebration feels hollow. Yes, we survived. But at what cost? How many didn't survive? 6 million Jews. 6 million. My parents. Most of Clara's family. Jakob's years in Dachau and Buchenwald. My lost career, lost home, lost life. We survived. But what did we survive into? What world is left? Lieutenant Morrison finds me. Ma'am, I have news about your immigration application. My heart races. Yes? It's been approved. You're eligible for a displaced persons visa to the United States. You'll be on a transport ship leaving from Le Havre in July. America. I'm going to America. What about Clara? I ask immediately. Her application is pending medical clearance. The tuberculosis. She needs to be fully recovered before she can travel. It may take a few more months. So I'll go without her. The choice she told me to make. And my brother, Jakob? Can he be added to my application? If we can locate him and verify his identity, yes. Family reunification is prioritized. Do you know his location? Buchenwald. But that was in January. I don't know where he is now. We'll search the records. I'll do everything I can. He means it. These Americans, these young soldiers and aid workers, they're trying so hard to fix what their country failed to prevent. May 1945. Jakob's letter arrives. I recognize his handwriting before I open it. My hands shake so badly I can barely tear the envelope. Dear Ruth, I'm alive. I'm in a British displaced persons camp in Germany. I got your letter. I can't believe you're alive. I thought you were dead. I thought everyone was dead. Mama and Papa. I can't write about it yet. It's too much. I'm coming to France. The British are helping me transfer. I should arrive in June. Wait for me. Don't go to America without me. We're all the family left. We stay together. Your brother, Jacob, he's coming. Jacob is coming. We'll be together. I show the letter to Lieutenant Morrison. My brother is coming. Can we delay my transport to July so he can come with me? We'll arrange it. Family reunification is the priority. June 15th, 1945. Jacob arrives at the camp. I barely recognize him. He was 19 when they took him. 25 now. But he looks 50, gaunt, scarred. His eyes are old, dead almost. We embrace. He feels like bones. Nothing but bones. Ruth, he whispers. You're real. You're actually real. I'm real. We're both real. We survived. He pulls back, looks at me. Mama and Papa? Auschwitz, 1942. He nods, like he already knew, like he'd accepted it years ago. Dachau was hell, he says quietly. Then they transferred me to Buchenwald in 43. It was... He stops. Can't continue. You don't have to tell me, I say. I want to. I need to. But not yet. Not today. We sit together. 2 survivors. 2 fragments of a family that no longer exists. We're going to America, I tell him. Both of us. July. We're starting over. America, he repeats, like it's a foreign concept. Yes. Okay. America. July 20th, 1945. Le Havre, France. Port of embarkation. The ship is called the USS General W.P. Richardson, a military transport ship converted for refugee use. We're traveling with 500 other displaced persons, all heading to New York. Jakob and I stand at the dock with our belongings, everything we own in 2 small suitcases. After 7 years of running, hiding, losing everything, we have 2 suitcases between us. American soldiers are loading refugees onto the ship. There's a long walk up the gangway, steep, Difficult, especially for elderly refugees or sick ones. Jakob picks up his suitcase. I reach for mine. It's heavy. Not terribly heavy, but heavy enough. I'm weak from years of malnutrition. My arms shake. An American soldier sees me struggling. He's young. Maybe 21. From Texas, based on his accent. "Ma'am, let me help you with that," he says. He reaches for my suitcase. I hesitate. Years of being a refugee, of being told we're burdens, of being unwanted. My instinct is to refuse help. To not be trouble. "It's okay, ma'am," he says gently. That's what I'm here for. He takes my suitcase, carries it up the gangway for me, like it weighs nothing. Like I matter. Like my belongings matter. At the top, he sets it down carefully. "There you go, ma'am. You have a safe journey. Welcome to America. I mean, you'll be welcome when you get there." I stare at him, this young man, carrying my suitcase, treating me, like I'm a person who deserves help. And I break down, just completely break down. 7 years of loss and fear and grief. And this one small kindness shatters me. "Ma'am, are you okay?" He looks panicked. "Did I do something wrong?" "No," I manage through tears. "No, you did something right. Something so right. Thank you. Thank you for—" I can't finish. Jakob puts his arm around me. The soldier looks confused but nods. Moves on to help the next refugee. "Why are you crying?" Jakob asks quietly. "Because he carried my suitcase," I say. Like it mattered. Like I mattered. After years of being told we don't matter, don't belong, aren't wanted, he just helped. Without thinking. Without hesitation. He just helped. Jakob nods. He understands. The weight of small kindnesses when you've lived without them. We board the ship. Find our berths. Cramped but clean. We share a cabin with 4 other refugees. It's crowded. Uncomfortable. It's heaven. The ship departs on July 21st. I stand on deck, watching France disappear. The country that gave me a hiding place but also deported my parents. The continent that birthed me and tried to kill me. I'm leaving Europe. Forever. I'll never return to Vienna. Never return to the city where I was born, where I learned to play piano, where I fell in love with music and culture and life. That Vienna is gone. Murdered, along with my parents. Clara is still in France, recovering. She'll come to America later, she promised. We'll find each other in New York. I believe her. I have to. The Atlantic crossing takes 12 days. 12 days of seasickness and fear and hope. What if America changes its mind? What if they turn us back? What if the quota closes? What if we're not welcome after all? But on August 2nd, 1945, I see her. The Statue of Liberty, rising from New York Harbor, green and enormous and impossible. Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free. That's me. That's all of us on this ship. Tired, poor, huddled, yearning. We dock at Pier 21. Immigration processing takes hours. Questions, documents, medical examinations. More questions. Why do you want to come to America? The immigration officer asks. I could give the prepared answer. Freedom, opportunity, the American dream. Instead, I tell the truth, because I have nowhere else to go. Because Europe tried to kill me. Because I want to live. Because I want to rebuild. Because maybe here, I can be human again. The officer looks at me for a long moment, then stamps my papers. Welcome to America, Miss Adler. Miss Adler. Not Jewess, not refugee, not displaced person. Miss Adler. I'm human again. September 1945. New York City. Jakob and I live in a tiny apartment in the Lower East Side. 2 rooms, shared bathroom down the hall. It's small, cramped, poor. It's ours. I find work in a garment factory, sewing. My pianist hands, trained for Chopin and Mozart, now work sewing machines. 10 hours a day, low pay, exhausting. I'm grateful for every minute. Jakob finds work as a laborer. Construction. His engineering education from Vienna is worthless here. No one recognizes Austrian degrees. He's starting over from nothing. We're both starting over from nothing. At night, we sit in our small apartment and talk about the future. about possibilities, about maybe one day having families, homes, lives. Do you think you'll ever go back? Jacob asks. To Vienna? No, never. Vienna doesn't exist anymore, not the Vienna we knew. What about German? Do you still speak it? Only with you, only when I have to. I'm learning English. I'm becoming American. Can you just become American? He asks. Can you stop being Viennese? Stop being what we were? I don't know, but I'm going to try. We're silent for a moment. Then Jacob says, I'm glad we survived. I'm glad we're together. But I miss them. Mama, Papa, the life we had. I miss them too, every day. But Jacob, we're alive. We're free. We're safe. That's what they would have wanted. Is it enough? I don't know how to answer that. Is survival enough? Is safety enough? After everything we lost, can anything be enough? December 1945. Clara arrives in New York. Her tuberculosis is cured. She's thin but healthy, alive. We meet at Pier 21. She gets off the ship carrying a single suitcase. Everything she owns in one suitcase. We embrace, cry, laugh. We survived. Both of us survived. Welcome to America, I tell her. It's really real, she says, looking around at the city. We're really here. We're really here. Clara moves into a boarding house near our apartment. Finds work in the same garment factory. We're two refugee women, sewing clothes in America, trying to build lives from ruins. It's not the life I imagined when I was 23 in Vienna, teaching piano, going to concerts, engaged to a nice Jewish boy, living in a beautiful city, but it's a life, a real life, a safe life, and that's something. June 1946. I apply for American citizenship. Fill out the forms. Take the test. Pass. On July 4th, 1946, Independence Day, I take the oath of citizenship. I hereby declare on oath that I absolutely and entirely renounce and abjure all allegiance and fidelity to any foreign prince, potentate, state, or sovereignty, of whom or which I have heretofore been a subject or citizen. I renounce Austria, renounce Vienna, renounce everything I was, that I will support and defend the Constitution and laws of the United States of America against all enemies, foreign and domestic. I become American. Ruth Adler, American citizen. The judge congratulates me. Shakes my hand. Welcome home, Miss Adler. Home. Is America home? Can anywhere be home after you've lost your first home? I don't know. But I'm going to try to make it home. 1950, 5 years later. I'm 35 years old. I work as a secretary now. Learned to type, learned business English, worked my way up from the factory floor. It's not piano teaching, but it's respectable work. Jakob is married to another refugee, a Hungarian woman named Eva. They have a baby boy. They named him Samuel, after our father. Clara is engaged to an American soldier she met through a veterans organization. He's kind. He fought in Europe. He understands what we went through. I'm single. I dated a few times. But it's hard. How do you explain to someone who grew up in safety what it means to have lived through what we lived through? How do you explain the nightmares, the fear, the grief that never quite leaves? Some refugees marry other refugees. We understand each other. We carry the same weight. But I'm not ready. Maybe I'll never be ready. I take piano lessons again, at a community center in Brooklyn, relearning pieces I once played perfectly. My hands are older now, rougher from factory work and housework, but muscle memory remains. When I play Chopin, I'm 23 again in Vienna, before everything changed, before Kristallnacht, before loss. Music is time travel. It's the only way back. 1960, 15 years in America. I'm 45 years old. I teach piano now. Part-time, at a music school in Queens. I have students, children of immigrants mostly. They learn Chopin and Mozart and Beethoven from a woman with a slight accent and old eyes. I don't tell them my story, not usually, but sometimes a parent will ask, "Where are you from, Miss Adler?" "Vienna, originally. But I've been here since 1945. I'm American now." Sometimes they ask more. Sometimes they know. Sometimes they've heard stories about the war, about refugees, about camps. Sometimes they just nod and don't ask. I prefer that. Jakob has 3 children now. All boys. Samuel, Aaron, and David. Named for his father, my father, and no one in particular. Just a good Jewish name. He's a successful contractor. Built homes all over Brooklyn. The immigrant story. Came with nothing, built something. He still has nightmares. I know because Eva tells me. He wakes up screaming. Thinks he's back in Buchenwald. She holds him until he remembers where he is. I have nightmares too. Everyone I know who survived has nightmares. Clara has 2 daughters. She's happy mostly. As happy as any survivor can be. She lives in New Jersey now. We see each other monthly. Sometimes less. Life is busy. Children, work, bills, normalcy. But we're connected forever. Survivors share a bond no one else understands. 1970. 25 years in America. I'm 55 years old. Retired from teaching. Living in a small apartment in Brooklyn. Comfortable. Secure. I finally return to Europe. Not Austria. I'll never return to Austria, but I go to France. To Valence, the village where I hid for 3 years. Monsieur Tessier is dead. Died in 1958, but his daughter Marie remembers me. Remembers the 2 Jewish women who worked the farm. I was 10 years old, she tells me. I didn't understand why you had to hide. I just knew Papa said you were our cousins and we had to protect you. Your father saved my life, I tell her. He said he was just doing what was right. He was. I visit Father Bernard's church. He's dead too. But there's a plaque now. Father Bernard Gaston, 1881-1963. Saved 47 Jewish refugees during the German occupation. Righteous among the nations, 47. I was one of 47. He saved 47 lives by risking his own. I say a prayer. Not exactly Kaddish. I'm not observant anymore. Haven't been since the war. But something. Acknowledgement. Gratitude. Memory. These people. Monsieur Tessier. Father Bernard. Madame Fournier. The farmer who fed us. The priest who hid us. They weren't saints. They were ordinary people who chose to be human when humanity was in short supply. That matters. That's what I want remembered. 1980. 35 years in America. I'm 65 years old. The world is different. The war is history now. Ancient history to young people. They learn about it in textbooks. See documentaries. Visit Holocaust museums. But they don't understand. Can't understand. You can't understand terror, displacement, loss, survival unless you lived it. I'm asked to speak sometimes. At schools. Community centers. A Holocaust survivor. They want testimony. Want to hear the stories before all the survivors die. I tell them about Vienna. About Kristallnacht. About Gurs. About hiding. About liberation. And I tell them about the American soldier who carried my suitcase. It was such a small thing, I say. Carrying luggage up a gangway. Takes 30 seconds. No effort for a strong young man. But to me, after 7 years of being treated as less than human, as refuse, as burden, having someone help me, treat my belongings as if they mattered, treat me as if I mattered, it broke me, in the best way. It showed me that humanity still existed. The students listen. Some are moved, some are bored, some are just waiting for the period to end. But a few ask questions, real questions. How did you survive? How did you forgive? How did you rebuild? I survived because I had no choice. Survival is what you do when the alternative is death. I didn't forgive. Not really. You don't forgive genocide. You don't forgive Kristallnacht. You don't forgive the murder of your parents. You just learn to live with the weight. I rebuilt because humans rebuild. Because life demands it. Because my parents would have wanted me to live, not just survive. 1985. 40 years in America. Jakob dies. Heart attack. He's 70. Too young. But the camps aged him. Stress, trauma, suffering. They take decades off your life. I stand at his funeral. His 3 sons, now grown men, sit in the front row. His wife Eva, elderly now, weeps quietly. His grandchildren, 5 of them, look confused. Death is still abstract to children. The rabbi says prayers, talks about Jakob's life, immigration, hard work, family, the American dream. But he doesn't talk about Dachau, Buchenwald, the years Jakob spent as less than human, the nightmares, the guilt of surviving when so many didn't. That's private. Family knowledge, not for public consumption. After the funeral, Jakob's eldest son, Samuel, approaches me. "Aunt Ruth, did my father ever talk to you about the camps?" "Sometimes. When he needed to." "Why? He never talked to us, never told us what happened. And now," his voice breaks, "now I'll never know. He took it to his grave. Maybe that's what he wanted," I say gently. "Maybe carrying it alone was his choice. Maybe he didn't want to burden you. But we wanted to know. We wanted to understand him." "You can't understand it," I tell him. "Not really. You can know facts, dates, events, but you can't understand what it felt like, what it did to us. Be grateful you can't understand." Samuel nods, but he looks unsatisfied. The children of survivors always do. They carry secondhand trauma, inherited grief. They deserve better. 1995, 50 years in America. I'm 80 years old. 50 years since I arrived in New York Harbor. Half a century in America. Clara is dead. Died 2 years ago. Cancer. She lived to 72. Not long enough, but longer than the millions who didn't survive the war. I'm alone now. The last survivor of my immediate circle. Jakob gone. Clara gone. My parents, gone for over 50 years now. My Vienna, gone even longer. I live in a nursing home. Comfortable, clean, safe. Nothing like Gers, nothing like the farm attic, nothing like the cramped refugee apartment. But I'm tired. So tired. Young people still ask for testimony. Holocaust education organizations, museums, schools. Tell your story before it's too late. Before all the survivors are gone. I tell it, again and again. Vienna, Kristallnacht, flight, hiding, liberation. The American soldier who carried my suitcase. "Why do you always mention the suitcase?" a student asks once. "Isn't that a small detail?" "It's not small," I tell her. "It's everything." That moment, that gesture, showed me I was human again. After years of dehumanization, one small act of kindness restored my humanity. That's not a small detail. That's the detail. She doesn't understand. Not really. But she writes it down in her notebook. Maybe one day she'll understand. 2000. 55 years in America. I'm 85 years old. The millennium. The year 2000. A future I never imagined I'd see. The world is different. The Soviet Union is gone. The Berlin Wall fell. Germany is reunified. Europe is integrating. Austria has apologized, officially finally, for its role in the Holocaust. Too late for my parents. Too late for 6 million. But still, acknowledgement matters. I'm invited to Vienna. The city is hosting a commemoration, remembering Kristallnacht. 62 years later, they remember. I consider going. My social worker encourages it. "Closure," she says. "It might give you closure." I don't go. Vienna isn't my city anymore. I don't need to see what it's become. I remember what it was. That's enough. Instead, I write a letter to the city of my birth. "Dear Vienna, I was born in your streets, learned to love music in your concert halls, grew up believing you were civilized, cultured, enlightened. You taught me I was wrong. In 1938, you showed me what you really were. You destroyed my father's shop, burned our synagogue, sent my brother to Dachau, cheered as we fled. I survived. My parents didn't. My brother carried the trauma until it killed him. Thousands of Viennese Jews died because of choices you made. I don't forgive you. I don't hate you. I simply don't care about you anymore. You're not my home. You haven't been my home since November 1938. America is my home. Imperfect America. America that rejected refugees before the war. America that made amends after. America that let me rebuild. America that carried my suitcase. That's the difference. You took everything. They helped me carry what I had left. I won't return, but I'll remember. I'll remember Vienna as it was, and as it became. Ruth Adler, American citizen. I don't mail the letter. I just write it. Put it in a drawer. Maybe someone will find it after I'm gone. Maybe it matters. Maybe it doesn't. But I wrote it. That matters to me. 2003. 58 years in America. I die in my sleep. 88 years old. Peacefully. In a clean bed. In a safe country. Surrounded by people who cared for me. I'm buried in Queens. Next to Jacob and Eva. Clara is buried in New Jersey. We're not together in death. But we're not far apart. My obituary is short. Ruth Adler. Holocaust survivor. Piano teacher. Refugee advocate. Survived Kristallnacht. French internment camps. And years in hiding. Emigrated to America, 1945. Devoted her life to education and remembrance. It doesn't mention the American soldier. The one who carried my suitcase. The one whose simple act of kindness showed me humanity still existed. But I remembered him. Every day of my American life. Every time I helped someone. Every time I showed kindness to a stranger. Every time I carried something for someone who couldn't carry it themselves. I remembered, and I tried to be that for others. The unexpected kindness. The moment that restores humanity. That's what survival means. Not just staying alive, but staying human. Choosing kindness when cruelty would be easier. Helping when you could ignore. The American soldier probably doesn't remember me. Probably carried hundreds of suitcases for hundreds of refugees. It was just his job. Just what he was supposed to do. But for me, it was everything. It showed me that after everything I'd survived, after everything I'd lost, I could still be human. I could still matter. I could still have dignity. That's what I carried with me for 58 years in America. Not just the contents of that suitcase, but the knowledge that someone cared enough to help carry it. That's the weight they carried for me. And I carried it forward. Through teaching, through testimony, through kindness to others. We survived. Jakob and I, Clara, thousands of others. We survived the worst humanity could inflict. And we rebuilt. In America. In Israel. In countries around the world. We rebuilt because that's what survivors do. We remember the dead. We honor their memory. We tell their stories. But we also live. We build families. We create art. We teach children. We contribute. We matter. That's the final victory. Not just surviving, but thriving. Living full lives. Refusing to let evil have the last word. I was an Austrian refugee. I lost my home, my family, my identity, my youth. But I gained a new home, a new family, a new identity, a new life. And I wept when American soldiers carried my belongings. Because in that moment, I knew I was human again. And that made everything possible. Author's note. Between 1938 and 1941, approximately 130,000 Austrian Jews fled the country following the Anschluss and Kristallnacht. Those who remained were deported to concentration camps, primarily Auschwitz, Theresienstadt, and other death camps. Of Austria's pre-war Jewish population of 192,000, approximately 65,000 were murdered in the Holocaust. Refugees faced enormous obstacles: strict immigration quotas, lack of sponsors, closed borders, and international indifference. Those who survived often spent years in refugee and internment camps. After liberation, displaced persons camps housed hundreds of thousands of survivors awaiting immigration opportunities. The United States eventually accepted approximately 140,000 Jewish refugees between 1945 and 1952 through various programs. This story represents the journey of thousands of Austrian Jews who survived through flight, hiding, and the assistance of righteous individuals who risked their lives to help. This is Ruth's story, one of millions. Subscribe to preserve these memories before they're lost forever. Like, if this moved you, comment below. What small act of kindness changed your life? What would you do for a stranger? Share this video so Ruth's voice, and all survivor voices, echo forever. We owe them memory. We owe them action. Never forget. Never again.